Hello, beautiful people. Look, look who we got in the house with us tonight.
Who's here? I want to
Mr.
meet him.
Mr. Livestream himself. Good
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Shane? Good to see you, brother.
to see you, man. I've just been having a relaxing day of Modern Warfare 2, getting cussed by 14-year-olds. A lot of fun.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that.
I got to play with Carrie Neve for about an hour.
Oh yeah, how'd that
Yeah,
go?
it went good. She's legit, man. She can play.
So you saying she smoked your ass?
Well, actually, we played as a team, but the first
Oh, okay.
game we weren't. We were in opposite teams, and the very first person to kill me was her. And yeah, I had a horrible game. I had 3 kills and eight. No, yeah, 3 kills and 18 deaths, which
Dang,
is really bad. But from there on out, dude, I got warmed up, and yeah, we had some pretty good games.
that's what's up, dude.
Yeah,
What's going on, brother Death? Good to see you, man.
D metal. What's up, buddy? Ryan Walker. I don't recognize that name. Ryan, are you new or did I just not pay close enough attention?
Are you related to Paul?
Rest in peace, Mr. Paul Walker. Memo, you still wore out, buddy? There goes old Javon in the background.
I think he's getting ready. He's got to do some traveling tomorrow, so I think he's getting ready for that.
Yeah, you got to head to Florida tomorrow.
Yep.
I would say you got to feed the cat, but nobody needs to feed that cat.
No, she feeds herself. She could feed me.
Yes, you could. All she eats is the head, isn't it?
Well, I sometimes she'll eat more. Sometimes she won't eat nothing. It's weird. Sometimes she does it just for sport, I think.
Oh, yo, no doubt. Yeah, every time I've been to John's house, there's a dead animal laying on the floor. I bet the mailman loves going there.
I stepped on the same bird head like 3 times the other day. I'd just go step out the house and crunch. I was like, damn it,
Yeah, there she is. She's right behind you, dude. She's liable to kill you.
don't
Like,
kill me. Look, you're famous. Kitty, look. Meow.
to make that cat famous. John could probably already have a viral channel by now if he just started doing shorts of uh, the dead things that cat leaves on the front porch. People love cat videos, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
hey, if he could get a Ring doorbell to record her bringing it up and dropping it, ain't no doubt in my mind, dude. He'd have
oh, yeah.
a million views of a video.
That's a good idea. We might
It
look
is.
into that.
Yeah. Forget about knives. So what are you
Oh,
carrying today, Mr. Pandy?
um, today I had the old trusty brass bug out,
There you go.
cut some cardboard. You see tape schmutz on it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think I had a coin. Yeah, Mendoza EDC coin
I got you.
and, and a little pocket stone that the dude at work made me that I've been carrying.
Nobody would ever believe what I've carried all day today. I've made myself do it. Um, but I've had the Kaiser Roach in pocket all day today. And the reason for that is I've just been in a fidgety mood, and this is the only fidgety knife I own. And what a great one it is for fidgeting, man. The action on this thing is incredible.
Yeah, I remember when you got that, you said, "Man, that's so comfortable in hand, and
It
it
is.
the action's amazing." But yeah, that's a surprise that you're carrying that around with you today.
Well, I just felt like doing a little fidgeting, and I really need to at times because the more I fidget, it's good for my hands.
Yeah.
Even though it don't feel good, it's just good for them. You know, it's kind of like rehab, but yeah. And this is the one that actually Javon gave me this knife because it was too big for him. I don't know if you can see it there, but that's a 11-degree mirror edge I put on it.
Jeez.
The only problem with it is um, that that is so shallow of an angle that the stone, once they had built a slurry, the
Uh,
slurry, if you can see it there, kind of kind of messed up the coating. You see where it's a little hazy right here?
Yeah, you were you using a KME?
I was using a work sharp,
Oh, okay.
precision
Well,
adjust.
the same concept, because I've had that problem on KME, and I'm looking at 'em like, where in the world did those little scratches come from? And you realize it from that
Yeah,
slurry it builds up.
yeah. It's especially bad with the Vinis bonded, because I spray them constantly, so it keeps a little puddle of water and that slurry gets in there, and just that little bit of clearance because 11 degrees is so shallow that it scratched it up. But yeah, I told Javon, I put an 11-degree edge on, and believe it or not, that's been over a year, and this thing's still shaving sharp. That
Dang.
N690 has held an edge. I think that's the keys. You got to get it super, low angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I cut myself with this thing like I don't know. John might remember. It was at least 4 times in the first 2 weeks I had it from fidgeting with it. I just had to learn to get my fingers out of the way. But one thing I like about this is it having this is another reason why I love flipper tabs because with the flipper tab it's the tab that hits your thumb. Then you can just let it drop. You don't have to have lefty EDC thumbs. Uh, you can just have perfectly normal human looking thumbs if you have a flipper tab. So I still love flipper tabs, man. People
I'm
people badmouth them, but I still like them. Peter's in here. Hey Peter, I got something for you to look at while you're here. That's right. It's a Hogue tip down only. What do you think about that?
love it.
Yeah. This is the strangest pocket knife. It's odd that we bring that up again because Javon also gave me this knife because it was too big for him. But it's a Hogue X04 or 5. I don't remember. But it's got what Mr. Elijah calls a Warncliffe blade. I don't know that that's Warncliffe at all. But I don't know if you can see it. It's got just a slight amount of recurve here and then some more recurve here with this little fang at the tip. And I asked him at Blade Show. I said, "Man, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I just want to know what you were thinking when you designed that." He said I was what I had in mind was tearing through flesh, and I was like, "I'll take it." He
That
didn't say
that
human flesh. He just said flesh.
so he might have been talking about using it at the butcher shop or
It may have been. Yeah. Who knows?
cutting steaks.
Yeah. Yeah. Cleaning up a nice cut of beef, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, You're right, Peter. It is a tough knife. I was unaware until recently, though. I hadn't really looked real close at it. It's a button lock, but I don't think. I'm almost positive I shined a flashlight in there. I don't think it has liners. I
Oh,
think it's solid G10, but man, it is a really tough knife. It's got good, the good button lock and drop shut action. It's not as fall shutty as some. You have to shake it a little, but it's very smooth. So I
is it
enjoy it.
is it pretty light?
For its size, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big knife. That's a 4-inch blade. I know it's hard to tell on screen, but for its size, yeah, it is fairly light. The only other part that I didn't ask you about that I'm curious about, I don't know if you can see that it's ground here and here, and this line is in it. It kind of reminds you of a grass machete. You know how they got that secondary
Yeah.
valve. I don't know what the thoughts there were, but what's strange is it's hollow ground here, and then it's hollow ground here, and then it's not ground at all here. It's just the blanket of steel, but it's two separate hollow grinds. So I don't
Damn,
know.
that's crazy. I wonder if it cuts through flesh better.
I don't know. I forgot to ask him about the grind. It's kind of an unusual design, but it's cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would have to have something to do with the cutting of flesh, since that was his what was on his
Yeah,
mind.
it helps lay it open as you go through it, lay the fibers open. Peter said he's got a Todd Begg War Junkie Citadel in his pocket. That's a hell of a knife.
Yeah, I can appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into those, but I've just never been a fan of the way any of the beg knives look.
It's really strange that you bring that up because I've been thinking about that some. Their blade shape is not, it's not much different than the Roach, really. It's got those holes in it, but the blade shape's not that unusual, and the handle shape's not really that unusual. But it's a very divided crowd about the beg knives. Some people hate them, some people love them. Then there's people like you that can appreciate them, but you're not a fan of them. But I love them. I think as far as a bougie knife goes, the Begs are, you know, I think it was Kara Neve actually about a year ago. I remember her saying that they were too flashy for her. But I mean, when you look at the world we live in and some of the knives that Richie and Lindy are turning out,
Yeah.
people seem to love flashy, but then turn around and say they don't like the Beg. I don't get it.
Me, it was the milling that's done on the handle. I don't that little typical pattern that he usually has on his handles. I don't
Yeah,
dig that.
I got it. What's the beverage of the night?
Little Fosters, they say it's Australian for beer, but
Oh yeah.
it's
Since you've
pretty
been
good
in
stuff.
Alabama, have you tried any of the back 40 beers?
Yeah, I've had the is it the Naked Pig?
Mm-hmm.
I've had that one, and I think one other. They carry them at the gas station down the road.
Yeah. That's right here in Gadsden.
Is it that?
Yeah. They actually I don't think they like people spreading this, but I mean it's got to be common knowledge. I think that the they don't actually make beer here anymore. Now, when Back 40 started, they were brewing it right here in Gadsden in the old. It was actually the old Sears Service Center building. So, like, if they came pick your washer dryer up or whatever for warranty repair, that's where they took it. They opened a brewery there, and they were brewing it there, but it got so pop. What happened was they signed a contract with Carnival Tours,
Oh,
Carnival cruise ships, and it was just more beer than they could make. So now Agape, yeah, and then out Agape, I
yeah.
know they got their own beer too. I mean, it's still their recipe, and they say they assure the quality of the ingredients, but Agape actually makes it all now. So now all Back 40 is when you go in, it's still a brewery, and there's still all these bags of barley and everything, stacked up real nice and neat. But it's kind of like a slightly upper scale dining place now.
Okay. Do they actually brew beer there?
No, they
Okay.
quit brewing beer there when they started selling so much they couldn't keep up. But it's been a pretty good success story, man. Those guys have made themselves pretty wealthy. It's but like I said, the food they have there is it's not super fancy. How do I put this? It's foods that you eat all the time, but slightly fancier versions of them.
I
And
got you. That the another company that I've gotten to like it straight to ale,
yeah,
and they're right here in Huntsville, and they've got like a restaurant now too, but it's like the brewery's still attached to the restaurant. And
yeah,
matter of fact, I had my first poutine there a couple
really.
weeks ago.
Well, there's a place in Chattanooga called oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot the name of it. Oh man, that's so sad. We used to go there. We used to eat there all the time. We would drive to Chattanooga, eat lunch, and drive home. That's how much we loved it. But it was a brewery slash restaurant, and the food was incredible. The menus were very wittily written. It was
Yeah.
a good place to go. But it's recently closed. Well, it's no longer there. Um, and we found out that our favorite waiter had moved to another. Uh, it's not a brewery; it was just a bar that serves good food. So we went there to see him, and he wasn't there, but we met the owner, and that guy was the owner of the previous restaurant I was talking about, and he told me that um, he was really good at running a restaurant and making sure the food was good, but he wasn't a very good businessman, and the business was doing great, but um, he didn't realize when he signed the lease on the building that if somebody came in and offered more money, they could kick him out. And
Oh
that's what
Lord.
the terminal. That was it. The Terminal Brewery. They had really good beer, really good food, And yeah, Nashville, the Nashville Brewing Company, offered the landlord more money, and they just booted him out. So it just like it closed nearly overnight.
Dang.
Got a better offer and told him to get out. Yeah,
That's kind of that's janky right there, man.
yeah.
That's
He
some
said it's in
shady
the
business.
contract. He said he called his lawyer and said, "Yeah," said you should have brought this to me before you signed it. But yeah, there was a clause in there that allowed him to do that. That was sad. But anyway, so I won't buy anything from Nashville Brewing Company just because
What beers do they make?
I don't know.
You
I've
don't,
never
since you don't buy them.
no. I won't drink one just because they closed down my favorite restaurant.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for them and boycott them too. Then.
There you go. They had this appetizer called the Mr. Frog's Super Happy Fun Trip. Everybody that worked there were stoners, and it showed because they put a lot of care in their food. But and it was like all these different artisan breads. One would have like this house made hummus, and this other would have like this blue cheese mixture. And um, my favorite thing though was the pizza rolls. Believe it or not, they made pizza rolls. They used egg roll wrappers.
Oh dang.
And just put cheese and pepperoni in them, and then the marinara was off the charts good. But it took a lot of the breadiness away, so it made it much better.
Man, that does sound good. But it's funny you should say that because it was like 2 weeks ago. The movie writer director with John Waters that did like Crybaby and Hairspray and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He came to and did a performance at my work, and they had like a little VIP deal where the people that bought tickets afterwards they had more like not one on one, but way less people, and they just did a little question and answer thing, and the one of the little fancy candy shops did the food tables or whatever. They had like homemade pizza rolls, like little Totino's pizza rolls, but I think they used the egg roll. It
yeah,
was good as crap.
yeah. They're really good. It's really strange to me that now that it seems like the best food are in these bar slash brewery type places. Here in Gadsden, all the top three restaurants in Gadsden are that way. Two of them are owned by the same guy. His dad was the district attorney in town. Passed away, left. I guess he had a pretty good insurance life insurance policy. So his son opened. Uh, he actually opened three. He opened one that was like I remember it was like a British. Had a British feel to it. They served fish and chips and had really good food. And the other one was like an Irish pub and eatery. And then the third one he opened was called Nola's on Fourth. So it's like a Cajun style restaurant. It's all excellent food. And same way though, all the wait staff are stoners and you know walking around with dirty feet and flip flops.
That's like Mellow Mushroom, man. That place is the same way.
Yeah,
It's
I,
good pizza.
I like Mellow Mushroom. Okay, there's a little place here about 20 minutes from me, that little mom and pop place called Yaya's Pizza that has the best pizza I've ever eaten. But you go in there for lunch for $6.95, you get what they call a 10-inch pizza, and it's like this big around. Dude, I mean,
Dang.
I'm literally stuffed. I can't breathe when I eat the whole thing, and a drink for $6.95.
And we got a little pizza restaurant at work too, because we got like I think three restaurants. One of them's a food truck, but the little pizza restaurant, she makes like it's kind of like Mellow Mushroom type, where they got just weird toppings that make a
Yeah,
really good pizza. But one of them has damn mashed potatoes on it.
right.
It's
Yeah,
good as hell.
Sobek's. That place was actually legit like that. Their English fish and chips were great too, and they actually served them on a sheet of newspaper like they do in England. I didn't know that. They in England a lot of times your fish and chips come on a piece of newspaper. I guess to pull the grease out. I don't know, but that's what they did there.
So you could check out the news while you're eating your food.
No, it gets so greasy you couldn't read anything. Yeah, it was pretty good stuff. But the British, the little British place, it didn't make it. It was just in a bad location.
Yeah.
Our our old Broad Street, our downtown area, when I was a teenager, was extremely dilapidated and kind of abandoned. And we used to cruise it, and nobody cared for a long time. And then all of a sudden, they started checking up these cruising checkpoints. Like if they read your tag twice within an hour, you got a $80 cruising ticket.
Oh
It
my
was
lord.
Yeah, it was horrible, but we didn't understand at the time they were running the youth out of there because the city was about to dump a bunch of money into it. They repaved it. They did all these brick paver sidewalks. Of course, you could buy a brick that had your name on it. And they turned it into like an entertainment district, and we hated it at first, but it's great now because it's brought a lot of culture to the town. There's a lot of
Yeah.
famous restaurants down there, and they changed the laws where you could walk around with a beer in your hand and stuff like that.
Hey,
It's a cool place to go now.
these cool restaurants you're talking about, Sobek's is in the room, and he when he came to visit a couple like before Blade Show or whatever, we went out to eat at this little burger joint. But he was telling me, dude, sounds like the best restaurant in the world. They got a grilled cheese sandwich restaurant where he lives.
Oh yeah,
It's just
that was a good.
different grilled cheese sandwiches. Oh man, I'd be willing to drive cross country just to go to a grilled cheese sandwich restaurant.
We got a barbecue joint here in town that I'm not a big fan of the barbecue. I even asked them one time why they made it the way they did, um, and they pretty much they make the barbecue the way they do because a large majority of their clientele, especially at lunch, comes from the hospitals, and apparently nurses and doctors would complain about getting sauce on their shirts, so they're very lightly sauced, and the sauce is so thin that it soaks into the bread. I'm not a big fan of the barbecue anyway, but they sell they've got really good homemade chicken fingers, and they sell a grilled cheese sandwich that has one chicken finger chopped up in it. It's like $2 for
Yeah,
this grilled cheese with a chicken finger in it. And it doesn't sound very good, but it's delicious. It's my favorite thing to eat there.
and that does sound good. I love grilled cheeses. Michael Morgan said he dropped his phone on his sternum very hard, Mimo tired. Well,
Yeah.
if he had one of those porn sockets that so you can lay on your back and watch your stuff, and not he would have been fine, man. You got to get you a porn socket, Mikey Mo.
Get you one of these flexible phone holders like I've got, and just connect it to your nightstand, then you don't have to hold it anymore.
Heck yeah.
Not that I would know about, if I
No,
need.
no. You could just imagine that would work well for whatever.
Yeah. I want to bring up another question. Well, I just failed that bad. Um, the I know that the Mannix 2 lightweight, they've changed the construction of it um, to screws instead of pins. But does that mean you're going to be able to swap the scales? Are they going to be offering? I wonder if anybody's going to offer. Because the regular Mannix scale won't work because there's no liners in this knife. It'd be really cool to see if you could start getting aftermarket scales for the lightweight because of the screws. Because I love this knife, man. I bought this off of Chaz Light Sharp Stuff.
Dude, I wonder if the linerless scales you can get for the Mannix 2 would work on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. If you can just buy the linerless scales,
Yeah.
hardware kit. But to be honest with you, though, John, the lightweight, I don't know that if the texture was the same, if I could really even tell a difference. To be
Yeah.
honest, I don't care enough, and I love the wire clip. Um, I mean, if I had to sell one of mine right now, it'd be the GT20 CV model because I love this S110 so much. And
Dude,
I've heard everybody's bitch about the S110 about it being fragile and all that stuff, man. But I'm not stabbing this thing into cinder blocks either. You know what I mean? This is a slicing tool.
yeah.
If I break it, I think you have to be doing something pretty dumb. Gerald
Right.
at 76 even tested it, just hammering it into a hardwood stick and carved some copper with it and stuff like that. It didn't chip or break or nothing. So I think a lot of that was just negative hype.
Yeah. Probably so. Anytime something new comes out, it seems like it's going to get followed with something, especially if it's like kind of above and beyond on blade steel. There's going to get negative hype.
Well, you know who started the negative hype was my boy Super Still Steve. He used in his videos, he used to have a piece of paper hanging behind him that said S110 sucks. He, he says he don't like it because the carbides are too big and chunky.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It holds an edge forever. It works great for me. I, I don't have an issue with it at all. You know,
Yeah, that stuff is anymore. Just especially with people who know steels and stuff. It just boils down to personal preference, really.
yeah, yeah. I think yeah, Steve's a little picky about his stuff, but
Yeah, I
he loves
mean,
S90, but not S110. But
right. He's a smart man though. He knows his
he,
shit.
he is. He's put a lot of time and energy into that. So I take his word for it. But because of that, I wouldn't get a hard use chopper made out of S110. But as far as just a pocket knife to cut stuff with, just daily stuff, it works great for me.
Oh, speaking of choppers, which I don't even know, I haven't kept up with him in a while, but I went to his table at 2019 Blade Show. If I was, I'm not into choppers, but if I was to ever get one, have you checked out Big Chris's choppers?
I did. I met Big Chris. That's a big man.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah. Did you run in? No, I think that was last year. I met Big Bo Brown. Have you ever met Big Bo Brown?
Mm-mm.
He's on Instagram. Um, he's into EDC. His stuff.
Oh, oh, the big, and he had, I think he had a banner or a baby banner or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
big dude. Yeah,
7'3" or something like that. And I know he gets sick of hearing it, but I'm 6'3", and and I walked up to him, I was like, dude, I've never felt tiny. I haven't been around people taller than me, but I've never felt tiny beside because he's not just that big, he's yoked too,
yeah,
you know. And it's weird when you watch his Instagram because you don't think he's that tall because his wife doesn't look that short standing next to him, but she's like 6'2". Just beautiful woman too, absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, she's like 6'2", so they look normal in pictures beside each other. But he does all these clips of you know, I can't remember if he's 7'1" or 7'3", but it's like 7'1" man goes shoe shopping, 7'1" man goes mattress shopping, and he just goes all these places and films himself trying to buy stuff to fit him, and it's hilarious.
damn, dude, you put me in a picture with them with some water wings on. It looked like a little family vacation photo.
Yeah, yeah, sure would. Yeah.
Mom and dad and the kid are having a great time. But yeah,
Sharp guy,
wasn't
I don't
he
know if
carrying like a baby banner or something
he
at Blade
was.
Show?
He
Yeah.
absolutely was. Yeah. Sharp guy. I don't know if you saw my comment in OCD, but I actually do have a stripper ping pong ball story, but I'm not going to share it on here.
Oh, dang, get my hopes up. You can't do that, man.
Yeah, I'll call you later and tell you. But yeah,
I would love to hear that.
yeah. Sharp
And
guy.
I'm,
If you want to hear it, just hit me up on IG. I'll be glad to tell you about it. I'm going to assume that's Lindy in the chat because I don't think Richie would call us handsome gents. So, hey, Miss Lindy, how are you doing?
well, apparently Miss Lindy also needs some new glasses.
Did you guys see Lindy's Instagram post today?
Yeah, yeah, I saw it.
Those abs, dude. That she is putting in the work. She's getting
She,
jacked.
yeah, she getting jacked. She's jacked.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
made it there.
She's already jacked. Yeah, I do remember her talking about though that even when she's out of shape, she just naturally has abs. But
Right.
yeah, you can tell she's been doing some work. No doubt about that. So hats off, and it shows. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, Lindy. Which I'm proud of them both. They're doing big things out there, man.
Yes, they are.
I love those two.
Yeah. And I want to go on record for saying this. Anybody that has complained about Lindy's fixed blade looking like anybody's fixed blade, you can go fuck yourself. So
100%.
it's a leaf shaped fixed blade. It's been done so many. I mean, what you can't make a fixed blade knife anymore without copying something without making it look stupid like I did mine. So
Right.
you guys want to know what it takes to make a fixed blade that nobody's ever done before? It takes a hick like me making this ugly Warncliffe thing with this I didn't realize that adding this little slump to put my thumb in would make it look like the knife was backwards. That kind of looks like a finger choil. Yeah, here. So this looks like the blade. You shorten the wrong side. This is what happens, Lindy, when you try to make a knife that doesn't look like somebody else's knife. So, F the haters. It's not about the shape anymore. Everybody knows that, dude. Every shape has been done. Um, real knife people are in it for a good grind, a good heat treat. That's all. That's what we care about now. So, yeah,
When I looked at it, it just looked like somebody that knew their shit about knives made a knife that's going to work.
exactly.
So
Does that mean that Lindy's mind was in the same place that Alex Steingraber's was? Maybe so. But they both made an incredible fixed blade knife, and Alex even signed off on it. Told her go for it. But it looks great. Lindy, I just read your comment. It does have a small, slim handle, and so that does make it a little different from his. But here's the thing: go on Instagram and message Alex and tell him you want a shark and see how annoyed he is. He's sick of hearing it because he don't have any. He's not making any. He's in his folder right now. So people should be happy that if they didn't own a shark and they want something close, then they can buy one of Lindy's knives. When she starts making enough to sell. So, yeah. Tom, you're right. That is one ugly knife, dude. But I set out to just see if I could make a bladed object, and that's what I did. It's my first one, and I'll forever be proud of it because I did it. But you're right, man. It's ugly.
does it cut?
Oh, absolutely. And I screwed up the temper on it. I tempered it too low, so it's still entirely. It'll cut glass. It's so according to that, it's over 67 HRC 1095. But the biggest lesson I learned with this was to never ever work with ironwood again. This knife almost killed me, dude. I've never been that sick. Of course, I was in an enclosed room with no ventilation, no respirator. I just thought it was wood, so I ground it, and within about 2 minutes, my nose was just on fire. I mean, it just burned like acid, and that stuff had got in my lungs. Ironwood is very poisonous when you inhale the dust. So
And it's super dense, so you're getting like the dust is super fine.
it is.
When,
It's like talc.
yeah.
When you go to clean it up, the only way I could clean up behind it was to vacuum, and anything that was slightly moist. There's your sound clip to turn. Anything that was slightly moist or had any type of petroleum residue on it, you couldn't even wipe it off. It was rough.
Well, good on you for getting a hold of some ironwood and wanting to make a knife with it.
Oh, it'll last. Yeah, I mean,
Hell yeah.
it'll be here after the apocalypse for sure. Yeah,
Keep a little of that knife shield on the blade, and it'll outlive you.
yeah. It's getting a nice patina on it now, but yeah, I learned a lot. That's the main thing, guys. You don't even have to buy a steel that that you can harden. You can buy a cheap piece of 3/16 mild steel because I promise you, your first one's going to be horrible. So I would actually recommend you can go buy an 8 foot section of that stuff 2 inches wide and cut it into 10 8 what 10-inch pieces and just start grinding out knives just to learn how to grind.
Right.
Uh, because like I said, you're going to throw it away because you can't harden it, but you learn a lot. You really do. I built a homemade jig. I learned a lot. I'll say that. Am I ready to drop the money on a piece of expensive steel and try to grind it super thin? No, I'm still not ready for that. And to be honest, that's why startup knife makers make choppers. Because they can make
Right.
big, thick knife that's very forgiving. What Lindy's doing is not forgiving. You mess up just a little bit. That's one reason why the tip on that is a little bit rounded because I had to redo it because and I was dipping every pass, dipping in water. But I was coming across one time and I slowed down just a little too much, and that tip instantly turned orange. And I knew that the steel there was ruined,
Yeah.
because I don't have a heat treat oven, so I was using an old file. So I had to keep it cold while grinding, because I wasn't able to reheat treat it afterwards. Which also means that I ground it at file hardness. Yeah, that sucked too. That took.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, luckily for you, the knife that you're gonna make for me is not gonna be thin and slicey. So,
right. But it'll be thinner and slicier than that. But yeah,
well, yeah, but I
yeah,
think you'll do a great job.
yeah. Hopefully the shop will be finished for too much longer. I posted some pictures, guys. That's not my building. That's not my whole shop. It's a really good friend of mine, and he's gonna let me have a little corner over there. You know, he likes destructive things, so I'll have to make him some choppers and some maybe a battle axe here or there or something like that. But yeah, he's gonna let me use a corner there, set my stuff up so I can get back at it. But yeah, I had two knives promised. That brings up a
Can't wait.
bad moment, but I'd promised you and Jason Brown a knife, so I'm still gonna make Jason's knife. I just I don't know what I'll do with it yet. Maybe I'll auction it and send the money to Sarah, or I don't know.
Or send the knife to
Yeah,
Nora.
something.
Yeah.
I'm a little I'm almost forget which shape was it that you wanted.
I'm basically a fixed blade version of the F5.5.
Right. So I'm trying to remember what it was. Pretty sure it's the same thing Jason wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm almost positive it was the same thing he wanted. So
That's
yeah,
crazy as hell. Because I mean, we had those two not totally two totally different conversations. It wasn't
right.
like I didn't know that. So that's crazy that
Actually, I
we
know that
wanted the same one.
because I was talking to him on the phone, and yeah, he said the same thing. Because I told him that you had already asked for an F5.5. At first he was mad, then he was like, "Well, do his first. When you get better at it, that way you'll be better at it than mine." Yeah,
Hey, no, I wouldn't hate on him for that. I'd be more than happy.
yeah,
That tickles me that he wanted the same knife.
right. And just for the record, guys, I have no intentions of going into knife making business. If I get to a point where I'm comfortable with them, I may throw one on EDC Roundtable or something like that every now and then, just to buy another blank, or some more belts or something like that. But I don't have any intentions of being an expert or full time knife maker. What had stopped me was the fact that I already wanted to do better steels, um, but I didn't. I wasn't able to do premium heat treats. So now that I know what it costs to send it to Peters, I know I can do that. So I'm gonna do a few more. I've actually got some 1059, which is even more forgiving on the heat treat, but in my opinion, every bit as good as 1095. So I'm gonna do some more out of those, and then I'm gonna get. I ain't sure yet. Maybe some Elmax or something. You know.
So you are gonna start doing some stainless.
Yeah, yeah. I really want to do some stainless. Yeah, because a lot of your higher end uh, tool steels are just as difficult to heat treat anyway. So, if I'm going to have to pay somebody to do it, then I kind of at least want to have some desirable steels, you know.
Right.
But yeah,
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and call dibs on a sometime and way down the road a chopper in 3V.
there you go. Yeah, as long as Peters can heat treat it. Ryan actually told me he'd heat treat a couple for me as long as I didn't, try to run a business and have a quota and put too much pressure on him. But I have a feeling if the heat treats are going to be very limited for Brian, that's probably going to be my knife.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause um, I've already talked to Michael Martin at American Blade Works, and he's going to ship me a Magna Cut blank, and so I want to make myself a knife out of that and get Brian to heat treat it.
Oh, that's sweet. Heck yeah.
But
Michael's a good dude, man.
man, Michael Martin is one of the nicest people I've ever met, man. That dude is so nice and so humble. You're not going to call Sal Glesser and him as much as I love Spyderco. You're not going to call Sal or whatever his son's name is, and then just be
Eric.
yeah, just be over the top appreciative of your business and stuff like that, like Michael is. And in my opinion, he's making a better product. It's just I say a few dollars more, but it really depends on the model you compare it to.
Yeah.
The G10 Magna Cut uh, Model One version 6, I think it's right at $200. So, and I'll tell you, dude, people have a hard time believing it. I'm telling you, it's a better cutter than a Spyder Cut. I wish I had it close. I'd show you why, but I've showed it a couple of times. But the 15-degree edge that I've got on that American Blade Works is literally half the size of the 15-degree edge on the Spyderco. And the blade stock sticker, but it's that thin behind the edge. Um, it is it's mind-blowingly sharp and slightly. It's incredible what he did with that knife. And here in about the next month, he's releasing a Model 2 that's a Warren Cliff version.
Oh,
So yeah, that's I
that's
probably as bad as I wanted the Mannix in 15V, I'm probably going to skip on it just to save my money up and get that.
yeah, that'd be a good buy right there. Cause I know I had the one I had that it didn't have the step milling on it. It was just regular ground blade, but I mean it was slicey as hell. And the first one I had issues with the liners. Dude, I had taken it apart, anodized because he had titanium liners. I'd anodized the liners, the clip, everything, which you know by his own little rules and regulations or whatever voids the warranty. And I contacted him, told him, the issues I had, and I said, look, I'm willing to just pay for whatever it takes to fix it because I've anodized the hardware and liners and everything. And he was like, no, man, just send it back to me, and I'll send you a new one if I can't fix it. And dude, I felt so bad. I didn't want to put him to the trouble, so I just knocked about $100 off the price and turned around and sold it, with pictures showing what the issue was and everything.
I I had called him because well, you guys know about the reblade issue. He rebladed it for me, but I in all honesty, I had a second small issue with you could table tap it and the lock would disengage. And when I talked to him, he said Shane, I hand diamond file those lock bars. He said it's entirely possible that that maybe I didn't take enough off. And I'm telling you, it took about 20 times of opening and closing it for it to seat, break in, whatever. Because it was the exact same with the old blade and the new one. But after about 20 times of open and close it, dude, I can slam it against the table now and it won't disengage. So, but he was more than willing. He's like, man, I'll replace the whole knife. I'll send you a line, whatever makes you happy. And that's why I will, for life, be a Michael Martin and an American Blade Works customer. You know,
Well, I mean, his whole work ethic and desire for his customers to be satisfied is what creates the fact that there's a Model One version 6.
right.
He could have stopped at one, but he would send them out to reviewers and actually watch their videos to find out what he could change to make it a better knife.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is big in my book.
Yeah. And I'm way more forgiving of a guy doing it himself. You know, I'm pretty forgiving anyway. I mean, I don't bitch about flaws on the knife too much. I had a ZT 0452. Yeah, I loved that knife when I got it. It was before I understood geometry, realized how horrible it was. But yeah, that was a titanium frame lock with you know just I mean, there's no other word for it. It was an unsafe locking mechanism. Those not you can tap them on the palm of your hand and they'll disengage. And I got mine second hand, and I could tell it had been used and carried. So and then a year after I had it, it's still it was just ground wrong. Something
Yeah.
was just not right. And so that, yes, I have a problem with that. that was unsafe. But little nitpicky stuff like this, like that, I don't get super upset about, especially if I know they're willing to stand, because I know a year from now, if that knife hadn't broke in the way it did, I could call back and say, hey, Michael, I tried, it didn't work. It'd shoot me another liner in a second.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, you can probably always the guy that you bought the ZT from, you would know him if you saw him in public because he'd be missing a finger or two.
Right. Hey, Lindy, I want to talk about what Lindy's saying right here. Um, it's none of my business what you decide to do, but I just want to tell you, since we're on this subject, when I was talking to Michael, not everybody knows this, but there was a heat treat issue with my original blade. I sent it to Brian just for him to check out because he wanted to check out the geometry on them and stuff. And I asked him, I said, while you have it, if you want to, you can HRC test it. It was 52, uh, 20 CV at 52 HRC. He started doing some research and found that with 20 CV, he could take different samples of it, heat treat. I mean, he got to a point where he was just heat treating blank pieces of 20 CV. And he could heat treat them the exact same, temper them the exact same, and get different results, far different results. Now, I'm not saying this to say that there's a problem with 20 CV. I don't know, but the point is, he decided to go to MagnaCut, and because the MagnaCut, to get it to 64, it requires a cryo dip, and he didn't want to get into all that, so he went with Peters. And the reason I'm including you in this story is because he very quickly found out that sending them 20 knives at a time, I might be wrong there. I'm not going to say the number because I'm not positive, but sending them a batch of knives to heat treat and what it cost him to have that batch heat treated was way less than the time that it was taking him to do his own heat treat, and what he could be making. So in other words, it was profitable to have Peterson's do his heat treats because it gave him like 4 more days a month to be in the shop grinding. And to go along with those extra 4 days, it kept him from working another 4, which were the 4 Saturdays. So he went from Monday through Saturday to working Monday through Friday and actually making more knives and spending less money to do it, having somebody else do the heat treat. So, if you're thinking about having it sent out, that may be the way to go at first, unless you want to be like Brian and be known for your excellent custom heat treats. Once you get that down after you throw away 100 knives. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to go over that because, he didn't know that. He didn't know that until he had to do it, and then he was like, man, this makes money. This doesn't cost money. It makes money. He's talking. He's going to be able to double his production within the next month or so. Yeah, Lindy, I meant Brian at Transparent. Yeah. And by the way, your video and Brian's garage, rolling your eyes at the music, that was incredible. That was so funny. I was wondering how you made it 2 weeks listening to his music, or a week, however long you were there.
Yeah, the time he was spending doing all his heat treating mess, and now he can be machining knives while they're heat treating. And
yeah, and he's already bought a second CNC, is in the process of buying a third. So, he's looking at least doubling his output because, like right now, I mean, you can't buy one. They sell out as soon as he sends them. Um, he feels like he messed up a little bit releasing the MagnaCut because now the 20 CV aren't selling, but the MagnaCut sells instantly. But yeah.
well,
And what I'm telling y'all, that doesn't mean that that every ABW in 20 CVs at 52. It was that batch. He's tested several others and there wasn't an issue. It was that particular batch from that particular batch of steel. But because of that, he decided to make a change, which was a no-brainer because I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Larry was originally talking about MagnaCut, the I don't know how to say this. Larry didn't design MagnaCut for us. He didn't design it for the end user necessarily. He wait because that doesn't make him any money. His intentions were to make a steel that was cheaper for the maker and also cheaper to produce a product. What I mean by that is, Lindy will know well what I'm talking about. It's not just the cost of the steel and your time putting it together, guys. Tooling parts and grinding belts will eat your profit margin alive. Um, I've bought grinding belts on a very small scale, and I know to get good belts, to get a good product, it's not cheap, and they don't last forever, and the quality of the product depletes as the belt wears. So um, that was the whole purpose to MagnaCut was that before heat treat, it was going to be super easy to tool. Um, that's why he made it. Now, that's also why his HRC numbers were off in the beginning. Um, I don't even think Larry knew that at 65 HRC that the strength would still be there and the edge retention would be through the roof. Maybe he did, but when he was originally talking about it way back before any of us had any of it, because I was listening, that was his intent, was to make a good steel that was cheaper to produce a product out of.
Well, I did not know that for sure. That's some good information there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that aspect of it. I thought he was just trying to make a good steel, but yeah, that makes sense.
Well, keep in mind too that designing steels, as designing steels for the knife market is not a hugely profitable thing to do anyway. I
Right.
mean, those of us who care about um, steels, we're such a small percentage of the knife market anyway. There's not a whole lot of money to be made in knife making steels. So that's why a lot of your best steels came from other things. A lot of people don't know this, but this steel right here, this K390 Spyderco, K390 was designed for specifically for one job. It was designed to make the teeth on those earth boring machines. Those machines like Elon Musk is using to drill a hole under Los Angeles, those teeth on them, and like the miners use. These things are huge. They got all these teeth that dig through the earth, dig through stone, through iron ore, all that stuff. Those were K390. Um, and some knife makers just got a hold of some and realized that it also makes a great knife steel. But, not all steels were made just for knives. I think they just started with Chris Reeve and S30V and S35VN. I think those were the first steels that were made, just for the knife production.
And me personally, and anything above 8 CR is decent as far as my experience goes with sharpening and.
In all honesty, if you really think about the amount that you and I use our knives and the fact that we do have sharpening systems and know how, we could get by just fine with 8CR.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. We could. It's not. When you look at the charts, it's not that bad, guys. I've seen 8CR perform not very far off from some of the high-end, highly expensive M390 that you bought. I'm talking 20, 30 feet of cardboard difference. 20, 30 feet is not a lot. You walk across your house and you walk that. That's the difference in some 8CR and some M390. That's not to say I'm not trying to bash M390 or 20CV, but it's so particular in the heat treat that most people just don't get it right.
Oh, 8CR is it's particular with heat treating. It's not.
No, M390 is.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I know that they've been. I think the first one I ever ran across that was like a well-known issue was when Lion Steel like started making their modern slip joints or whatever, and they used M390 on well, I guess they're still using M390, but the first couple of runs of those knives that they made, people were highly upset.
That's not, like Bearded Doom saying right there. If I'm not mistaken, John regularly carries a Manix 2 in 154.
Oh,
Am I right? Do you
oh
have
yeah,
any issues with that 154?
I love it. I love 154. Like that's one of my favorite steels, period, budget or otherwise.
Well, 154 falls into a category that is massive when it comes to performance. There's, guys, 80% of the steels that the names of fall into that same category of 154 as far as performance. It's going to cut around 120 to 150 feet fine edge, and then maybe another 100 working edge after that. And that's not bad at all. And there's a ton of steels that fall in that category. 90% of the M390 in the world falls into that category. There's very few. You have to get into the K390s and Rex 45s and Triple Bs, 15V. You may very well get up into the close to the anywhere from 700 to 1,000 feet of total cutting. Before it needs resharpened. But in all honesty, I doubt there's anybody in here that will say that on even a weekly basis they need a knife to hold an edge that long. There may be some, but the majority of us just don't use them that much anyway.
Some days the hardest work my knife sees is cleaning out my fingernails. So
Yeah, yeah. I get knives shaving sharp just to see them shave the hair off my arm. They don't need to be sharp. I don't use them for much else, but there's nothing like that feeling when somebody asks you to cut something and you just whisk through it like a breeze of air, and they're like, "Good Lord, what did you?" Those pride moments is why you want it that sharp.
yeah, and it's cool also like when you're shaving those hairs to see them like jump off your arm, that little hair popping deal where they'll be popping like popcorn.
Yeah. I remember the first knife I got truly sharp when I was learning on a work sharp field sharpener, and it wasn't an expensive knife. It was a Gerber of some kind, and the guy I worked with, he was a young kid, asked me if I'd sharpen it for him. So I told him I would. And I remember when I got done and I checked it, I was just mind blown at how sharp I'd got this thing. And I walked up and he had a Mountain Dew in his hand. And when I walked up, he said, "I bet it's duller than it was when you started." And right after he said it, he went to take a drink of the Mountain Dew. And I just went, and the whole bottom half of the Mountain Dew bottle fell off, and all his Mountain Dew dumped out onto his stomach. I had no idea it would do that. It actually scared me that I got that close to his face. But yeah, that was my first truly hair popping edge, and I've been addicted ever since.
So moral of that story is don't ask Shane how sharp his knife is.
That perception's not that good. Luck got him cut his nose off.
Well, I had a Kershaw dividend one point, and it was one of the first knives. Like I had a Lansky back then, and I was just trying to get good edges off that Lansky, and I had finally kind of got the hang of it, and I sharpened that up, and like maybe a week later, I ended up selling it to a dude on Facebook, and then I was talking to a buddy of mine, Frankie, that turns out he knew the guy or whatever, but I told him, I said, "Yeah, I just sold a dividend." He said, "Was it to such and such?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh." He said, "Well, you're the reason he won't never buy another liner lock." He went to close it and chopped the tip of his thumb off and said he would never buy another liner lock knife.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Yeah, I can't stand to see people cut themselves. I can't handle it.
No, I can't handle seeing me or anybody else cut their shells. I won't look at it.
Yeah, Beard, you can be pretty confident that the heat treat on a Bradford's going to be pretty good. Um, it may not be as good as a premium custom heat treat, from Big Brown Bear or something, but it's going to be above average, for the industry for sure.
Those are some knives that punch way above their weight class. Like the price you pay for those things, man, it's nothing compared to what you're getting.
Yeah, You know,
And they're awesome people too. I bought my first Bradford at Blade Show, and like I was looking at him. She said, "You see something?" Nicole, his wife,
yeah,
she's kind of a hottie, but real friendly. She was like, "You see something you like?" I said, "Yeah, but I like that one, but I like those handle scales better, but I like it in that blade finish." She was like, she goes, she said, "Bradley, get over here, take that," and like told him what I wanted, and he went back there and put it together and brought it back and sold it to me.
there
And I
you
was like,
go.
"Dude, that's freaking service right there, man."
Well, I got my first experience with them because they had that Rex 45 for $110.
Yeah,
I couldn't pass that up. You know, uh, I'd I love that thing. I am going to send it to Pro X, get some of my car to put on it. I don't like the JG10 scales, but you
yeah.
know, in my opinion, though, man, it wouldn't bother me at all if every knife ever made was in my cart. I just don't think there's anything better. I love my cart.
I
You know,
do too.
I don't have
Get
time that much, but
I'm kind of getting brought over to the dark side though with the stuff that Fat Carbon and what was the other Camo Carbon or whatever that stuff they're putting out, man. It's just it's pretty.
yeah, it is pretty. I just don't. It's not pretty enough to turn me on, but and maybe it's just my experience with like I've got a Orion Solaris,
Hmm.
and that carbon fiber, it's like holding wet grease.
Yeah,
It is so slick. You know, I thought about roughing it up some, but I know it's gonna make the knife look horrible, and I've got it given away anyway. Just haven't shipped it off yet. But going back to, I don't want to keep dwelling on heat treats, but Bearded Doom's been posting a lot about it. You can tell he's the guy that don't dwell on that. And I'll tell you this, guy, you're really better off if you don't dwell on it, because once you go down that rabbit hole and you get obsessed by it, it keeps you from owning a lot of things you probably would have liked to own. And like I said, it probably doesn't matter anyway. You probably don't use it enough for it to even make a difference. But once you get it in your mind, and that's what you care about, unless you run into just a really bad heat treat like I did with the. I remember what happened to the guy. He was Russian. I'm trying to remember. He made the VDK. You guys
oh
remember
yeah,
VDK?
yeah.
He released that Strix, and it was extremely popular, and he did well. And then he came out with another one, the Vesta. Well, he came out with a budget model of Vesta, and without thinking, I jumped on a hot train and I paid $100 for a G10 D2 Chinese made knife. Because it was the VDK. Um, had great action. I'll admit that, but I was noticing one day that when I was sharpening it, the light caught the edge, and I got to looking. As I was sharpening, there were chunks coming out of the edge. They were literally like potholes all down the edge, just like you could feel them with your fingernail. And this is before I got into expensive diamond, sharpeners and all that stuff. I think I just had a Lansky diamond system at the time, but I ended up having to take that knife to the belt grinder and removing about probably a 30 seconds of an inch of the edge before I got the burnt steel off of it. And I don't want to say anything to hurt Mr. Dave Warren's business. That knife was built by Tuya, so that's who heat treated it, and it was horrible. Now, I will admit, once I got past the burnt steel, it seems to perform just fine, but that was just really upsetting, it being on a $100, what should have been a $40 knife. It was no nicer, no better than a CJRB Feldspar.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, there was a like a lawsuit type situation with that whole deal because it was kind of on mass drop because VDK basically said no go on those knives because they knew there was an issue, but mass drop was like, okay, well we already own them, so we're just gonna sell them. They don't have anything to do with you
I
anymore.
bought
Like
this
we
one
own them.
directly off of VDK's website.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Now,
okay.
maybe he realized it after or whatever, but I know there was a lot of controversy surrounding that guy anyway. apparently people were messaging him and complaining, and he handled it kind of like that other
Yeah.
Jack did. He got real shitty about it and started ghosting people. And how does that? How is it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Damn Designs that pissed all those people off about their knives?
Yeah, I think they were
How is he
basically
still in business? How are people? Why are people still buying his stuff?
I don't know. I don't know how widely known that was, but I know it was what a situation people were emailing about his knives, and said something pretty crappy, like if he got another email, like they weren't getting a knife or something. Like
Right.
anybody that emailed him again, they just weren't going to get one or
That,
some
this is
crap.
my this is my thing, John. If you get a knife and there's something wrong with it, there's nothing wrong with continuing doing business with somebody when you bought a defective product from them. But if you bought a defective product or had an issue with and a guy is a shithead, there's no reason to ever do business with that person again.
No,
There's way too many knives out there, way too many knife makers, way too many people trying, to get in the business, to do business with somebody like that. You don't, and it didn't happen to me, but just knowing that he treated people and consumers that way, I'd never own anything from it, even if it was American made and it was $40. I'm not buying anything from
no,
it.
which it worked
Appreciated.
out good for me. I don't like his designs anyway, so
I didn't. I mean, I appreciated that he tried to go different, but I don't think he hit the mark. You know,
no,
I've argued with a lot of people about Elijah Isham. He went different, but I think Elijah did hit the mark.
yeah.
You know,
Well, I think
if you ever held his knives, man, Elijah's knives were very ergonomical and they worked really well.
he was aiming for that mark that Isaiah ended up hitting with Arcane.
Yeah, yeah. Arcane
Something
hit
different.
the lines, but done right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you there.
And
You
he's a
bought a
much
Ford.
cooler guy to work with, apparently.
Lindy, what kind of steel are you saying you bought? I missed the original comment.
24-inch long, eighth
Yeah,
inch
and
thick.
that can be up to three knives for $15.
But she
That
said her fixie she made is tested 64 HRC.
the face you made when we're listening to Brian's music. Lindy, have you spoke to Brian in the past few days? Is he doing okay? Is he getting any better? I messaged him to check on him. I hadn't been back to see if he responded yet or not.
She said it was ABL.
Yeah,
Tom Weingart said it must be nice to have a business doing so well you don't need mine.
yeah, yeah. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah. That's that was the whole the deal with Cold Steel. Like all it was is they're not knife people anymore. It's a big corporation now. So they're just basically you're just a customer to them, and to just basically telling me that the back spring breaking was from normal wear and tear, and here's 30% off your next Cold Steel purchase.
From their site, which is probably
Yes,
40% higher than anywhere else.
yes, because yeah, that code they gave me only worked buying straight from Cold Steel.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys know this, but like there, even in the automotive industry, there are aspects of your car that exceed your warranty. Um, you know, car manufacturers have to stand behind the seat belts for life. A lot of people don't know that. If you have an issue with a seat belt, something like that, because it's a safety concern, they stand behind that for life. So I feel the same way about that with a knife company. If the blade broke, whatever, okay, I get it. Maybe that's not covered. But if the locking mechanism, the thing that keeps it from physically hurting you, malfunctions, I think they should stand behind that for life. And if they don't make that knife anymore and don't have a part for it, then they should send you, an equivalent of something else.
Right. which that was their first. Because when I messaged them, I didn't say, hey, I didn't treat it as a warranty issue. I was like, I need to buy a new spring. My spring broke, and they said, I'm sorry, we don't sell parts for our knives. We don't warehouse them in the U.S.
Yeah.
And then gave me another name to another email to contact and said they can help you out. So I'm thinking, okay, well they're going to treat it as a warranty issue. And then when I called, she was like, no, well that's covered. That's just normal wear and tear. But let me talk to my supervisor. Got off the phone for like 2 minutes, came back. Yeah, they said that's normal wear and tear, but here we give you this 30% discount or whatever. And I was
Yeah.
like, dang, dude, like, I mean, to treat somebody like, oh yeah, knowing that even if you don't know knives, like knowing that a
Well,
vital
there's no
part
way to
for
abuse
locking
the
it,
law bar.
right,
Well,
right,
I guess maybe if they thought you had hammered it into a tree and stood on it, seen what it took to break it, but there would be other damage to go along with that.
right.
So
And
not
then
just the lock bar breaking.
and it wasn't even the lock bar; it was the spring that's inside. Like there, I
Yeah.
mean, that would have been even harder to break.
Right.
And yeah,
How about
so
cold steel, Lindy? It was cold steel, and it's been since the buyout that this happened.
yeah, yeah, it was. Now the knife, I'm pretty sure was pre-buyout, but
Yeah.
that, I mean, things happen, shit happens. Like it's, things break. But
That's not just like a coil spring or an omega spring. That's a thick spring steel
right,
bar. Yeah.
yeah,
It's strange that it broke anyway, but I mean, things happen. But
yeah. I mean, just a weak spot in that specific piece of steel or whatever. But yeah, to say no, that's just normal wear and tear.
yeah.
And because I mean, for normal wear and tear, you'd have to been doing some hella fidgeting to weaken that spring steel enough for it to want to break.
You can't fidget that thing anyway. That's the least fidgety lock
Right.
mechanism there is.
Well, I mean, the Code 4 is pretty fidgety. It's got some good action on it. I mean, it's one of those where you hit
I couldn't fidget. Is what I meant.
yeah,
Yeah.
you hit that lock bar, and I mean, it drops. You can do a little fidgeting, but not that kind of fidgeting.
Yeah. I actually gave mine away to another channel. I spent a little bit of time over on Marine X's channel. He covers a lot of EDC stuff and man cave stuff. It's fairly entertaining, but if he gets to talking about knives, you got to kind of tune him out a little bit because he don't know enough to talk about them. Um, I mean, he carries a bench spade. He knows what's good. He just don't know enough to be talking about them. I'll put it that way. But I
Right.
met a guy on there that's got a channel called the Fossil Channel. It's spelled like it's all one word, the Fossil Channel. And that guy John reviews a lot of like Swiss Army knives and uh, ham radios and flashlights. He works in kind of for the parks department, so he does some search and rescue stuff, some trail maintenance stuff, but has never really owned a modern pocket knife. So I gave him my code 4 to check out, to just kind of get a feel for it. So he'll be putting a video out about that before long. I want to thank you guys. I know I put the word out there for some folks to go sub to him. He's been doing this for like 5 years and was at about 950 subs, and some guys here in the community pushed him up to over 1,000 in no time. I'd like to do that again. There's a channel out there that has nothing to do with knives. I know you guys are going to think this is lame, but when Kara and I were playing Modern Warfare 2 tonight, we had the pleasure of playing with this father and son team. Never heard the dads speak, but this kid, I'm guessing he was probably, I think he said he was 11, and he was just so animated, man. He was so much fun. And right as the game was over, because when a match is over and you leave, the lobby resets. You're not going to be playing those same people the next match. So as the match was over, he he very quickly shouted out, "You guys check my dad out on TikTok and YouTube. His YouTube channel is oh god, I'll post it on Instagram anyway because I went and subbed to it. The guy only has like 67 subs or something, but it'd be really cool to give him a little bit of a push just because his kids shouted it out on Modern Warfare 2.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome. What kind of channel is it?
It's a uh, baseball card channel. He,
That's
he
what's
does
up.
baseball cards and stuff. It's something sports cards, but I can't remember if it was Ravens. It's I'll post it on Instagram. But when I do, if you guys could could go give him a sub and watch for a few seconds so that the sub sticks, that would be really cool because he was super appreciative that I left the game to go check out his channel and sub to him. So he seemed like a nice guy, and his kid was so cute, man. And, me and Kara were urging him on. When he get a kill, we were cheering for him, and he asked Kara how long she's been playing, and she's like, "This is my first time. It's the first game." He was cheering for her because she was doing so good. It was so cute, man.
That's hilarious, dude. Yeah, and what does a sub cost you? Like nothing.
Nothing.
2 seconds of your time, if that.
Yeah, and if you don't like it and you're not interested in it, you'll forget about it. It'll just be
Yeah.
there. So who cares?
Yep.
I wish I remembered the name of it now, but I know it's something sports cards. But yeah, I don't know much about the guy, but his kid was awesome.
Heck yeah. I don't know crap about sports cards. Besides, I had some when I was younger and they got thrown away, and I didn't really care until I realized that some of them would have been worth a little bit of money. But
Oh, I had a mint when I was a kid and didn't know it. Anybody sitting here that's collected sports cards will know exactly what I'm talking about. I had the Topps 1985 mint set. So by mint set, that means every card they made in 1985. You could order them from Sears and Roebuck. Came in a big
yeah,
long white box. Every card they made. And when you go back and look, man, that's Cal Ripken Jr.'s rookie card. That's Mark McGwire's rookie card. That's Mark McGwire's Olympic card. They had the whole Olympic baseball team. Uh, that was Darryl Strawberry's rookie card, Eric Davis's rookie card. Um, individually, at times, some of those cards were over $1,000 a piece. I
dang.
had the entire mint set and sold it for $200. Yeah, I was broke, didn't really know better.
Hindsight's
No, no,
2020.
you're sitting on a pile of money. The thing about baseball cards is though is like that Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card may have been worth more a few years ago than it is now because like the way to sell them was when Cal Ripken was about to break the Ty Cobb's record, I think. I don't remember. When he was about to break that record, or when he did, his rookie card shot through the roof. Same way with Mark McGwire when he broke the home run record, his rookie card and Olympic card shot through the roof. Of course, I'd already sold the set by then, so it was too late. But you know, but I think in 1985 it was like $90 or $80 for the entire mint set. Guys that jumped on that and sold them at the right time. Yeah, Kyle saying cards ain't worth shit now.
He's got a heap of cards though. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I had a little bit of an emotional moment at Blade Show when I was by myself. After we all split, and I told you guys I was about to head home. Um, I was hungry, so I went into Murph's. I'd already ate lunch once at Murph's, so I liked it, so I went back. They've got these pot roast fries that are to die for, man. They're so good. Anyway, I went in there, got me another order of pot roast fries before I hit the road, and there was a poster. It's Dale Murphy's restaurant, so there was this poster of Dale Murphy standing. Looks like he's just standing in this dark alley, and the bat that he's holding kind of looks like a lightsaber. It emits light. And I remember as a kid going into the baseball card store here in the mall. They had that poster, and it was like $140. And I always, I dreamed of owning that poster because I was huge into baseball cards when I was a kid, and never could own it. And then there it was hanging in the restaurant. And you could buy it for $12.95. And I started to buy it, but I thought, no, that's going to make it even worse. It's like it was just going to add insult to injury having it now when I don't care, and it was only $12. But
Yeah.
it also reminded me of my grandmother. My grandmother refused to go in the They had put a hospital bed in her living room because she refused to stay at the hospital because she couldn't watch her Braves. That's what she
Right.
called her Braves. She watched her Braves every time they were on television. She bought her first VCR so that she could record the day games that were played while she was at work. Never missed a single inning, a single minute of any Braves game during her life. So being immersed and knowing that Dale Murphy was her man, it was just in a moment of silence there, it kind of hit me, that you know her being gone. It was a sweet memory though.
That's really cool. And she must be a good soul because she was a Braves fan. So
Yeah. But
that's
come find out that was a pretty common thing. You can talk to a lot of people in the South. You go to the state of Georgia and you ask anybody about the Braves, and they'll tell you that that was their mama or their grandma, and they call it the same thing, her Braves.
yep.
When I'd call Mama, what are you doing? Watching my Braves. Oh, all right. Yeah, Calvin just posted the Dale Murphy lightsaber. So there's a name for it, and I can't remember what it was called. They didn't call it the lightsaber poster. It was called something. The streak, maybe. Anyway, the poster had a name, but back then, there was no internet, and you know, that because it was a limited print, it was worth a lot of money. But now, it's everywhere.
It's every damn where. Yeah, he lived just about 2 miles from my house when where I grew up. There was a lot of Braves players that lived around there, but
Let
that
let
was my
me
team.
let me tell you guys and give you an example of what it was like growing up in the South, being born in 1971. When Dale Murphy hit the scene with the Atlanta Braves and became, you know, the home run king of Major League Baseball, there was a controversy surrounding Dale Murphy. It became a sin in some churches to be a Braves fan because Dale Murphy played for them because he was a Mormon.
Yep, I remember that.
That's how strict Southern Baptist homes and Southern Baptist churches used to be. That you couldn't be a fan of the Braves because their most popular player was a Mormon. That makes any sense to you? Have you ever met a Mormon? Have you ever met any Mormon and didn't walk away thinking that is the nicest person I have ever met in my entire life? I never have. Ben Banner, fine, fine example.
Yeah.
you know, uh, perfect example of a Mormon. Nicest guy you'll ever meet. But yeah, that's what it was like. I remember walking into a church. I'm not gonna mention the name of the church, but my aunt went there, and she would drag me in there by the ear with her when I spent the weekends with them sometimes. And they had a sin board, and it was a dry erase board that they were constantly adding sins to. And yeah, being a Del Murphy fan was one of them, but soda was a sin because it contained sugar, and sugar wasn't good for you. Now, granted, they're correct. Sugar's not good for me, and I should have paid attention to that because I never would have ended up being diabetic had I paid attention to that sin. But it just tells you how dogmatic some of it used to be. And it makes perfect sense as to why so many people are turned off from religion. Um, and I know people don't like to talk about religion on YouTube, but I'm going to tell you this, guys. Religion and Christianity aren't the same thing.
No.
Worshiping God, worshiping Christ has nothing to do with religion. Religion is a group of people and a group of that have made up a group of rules to benefit themselves, and they has used Christianity as the base. So yeah, uh, it's no wonder that people are so turned off by it. You know. So
Yeah.
anyway, enough on
I
that.
Yep. Yeah, I can remember those very clearly though, because I grew up. I think I became I can honestly say I became a Braves fan in 1979. So
You ever heard those saying, "Who needs enemies when you got friends like that?" That's Kyle Kunkel.
yep, that's him. That is him.
John, have I told you the
He's
peanut butter story?
no, but
Oh, you
I
remember it right off the bat if I tell. I'll tell it
no.
to you later. Kyle's
All
one
right.
of the few people I've shared it with, so there's an inside joke around the peanut butter. So just know that, and remind me to tell it to you next time we're not on air.
Well, I definitely will, and I love it when Kyle's in the chat because things get real sassy
They definitely do. Yeah, he can make things sassy for sure.
with a
Yeah.
quickness.
You
But
should.
he can say some shit that that somebody else would come across as offensive saying, and it's just hilarious. Like he just says the funniest shit, and the way he does it, the way he says it, I mean, you're never offended. It's just funny.
If you want to see Kyle at his rawest, where he really pushes the envelope to see what he can get away with, you have to watch him on OCD for EDC.
Oh yeah.
He is trying his damnedest to find out how far he can push Molly before she just fucking flips out and cusses him out.
I mean, earlier tonight, I think he mentioned something about her usage of teeth,
Yeah, he did.
and
That was actually the first topical comment that made me cringe a little bit. I thought, you know, I wouldn't have even went there.
he went there. He went there with authority.
He is the definition of giving zero.
It's because he has no fucks to give.
Right. Yeah. When he gets banned from this community, he'll walk away knowing that he did his job.
He'll have a cool story to tell. Let me tell you about the time Grandpa got kicked out of the knife community.
Yeah.
It started years ago, and I'll go ahead and say right now, Granddaddy had a good run.
Yeah. He had a very good run. What's up, Nick? Good to see Acid Test Kids in here, man. Nick's an awesome dude. You guys don't already know that.
Who's that? Wait, I was
Acid
reading.
Test Kids.
Oh yeah, no, I know him by Acid Test Kids, not by his actual first name, but now I know his first name. But yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah. Yeah, we chat some on Instagram. He's a good guy.
Cal said he bows before two of the legends here in the I don't give a fuck category.
Yes. Yeah. You did see where it said Stevie crowned us to the, or named us to the Mount Rushmore of the nice comment section, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
It was me, you, Mimo, and was it Kyle?
I think it might have been Kyle.
I can't remember. Me and Stevie were talking about it though, and he said he's gonna have to make a Mount Knifemore because four's not enough. Because
Yeah.
he said we got to add Patina Turner, and Kyle definitely belongs up there. But yeah.
He said I'm playing the long con because my real name isn't Kyle.
Well, if it's not, he's got it. He's pulled it off. It's Kyle everywhere you look. It's Kyle on Instagram, and it's Kyle in my phone when I call him.
It'll be as big as Kevin not really being left-handed.
That was so funny, man. And the trolls that got on him for lying.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, dude. I was laughing from the beginning because I knew he was, fucking around. But and then reading comment because I caught it like a couple days late. I'm reading comments like people were like irate.
Yeah, yeah. Another guy with zero F's to give.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one of the truly most awesome, just giving people in the world too.
Yeah, and I did everything I could do to ruin that friendship.
And y'all are still friends.
And we're still friends. Yeah. Yeah. You ever done something and not even realize it till the next day, and you just feel horrible about yourself as a human being that you
Yeah.
did it? Yeah, that's what happened. Exactly what happened. Yeah. That incident actually put me in a very dark place for a couple of days, man. I was really questioning who I was and who I wanted to be, and I realized I've got to tone down the edginess a little bit. It went from innocent joking to breaking a man's trust, and that's not cool. But yeah, I mean, he forgave me, and we're still good friends. So you know, you can guarantee it won't ever happen again.
Well, learn from your mistakes, right?
Uh, and I'll admit, because some people thought that when I did it that it was in a joking manner, and that's what upset me is that it wasn't.
Oh,
I wasn't being playful.
right.
I was trying to win an argument, and I was mad at something that he said, and I retaliated, and that's not cool. You know, I could have retaliated with words would have been one thing, but how I did it wasn't cool. I'm an open book, man, guys. I don't hide anything, but I shared something from a semi-private conversation, something within a chat group, that's not public, and I shared it. Some of you saw it, and yeah, I took it down because that was not a nice thing to do. Yeah.
Well, we all make mistakes, and it's usually the people you love the most that you hurt the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
just
he wasn't hurt by it. I mean, I think he was disappointed that I did it, you know, and like I said, now, did I realize how unethical what I did was when I did it? No. I mean, I admit that I did it out of anger, but, I did, it's not like I stopped and thought, hey, this isn't right and I shouldn't do it. That didn't happen. I just thought, hey, I've got this weapon that I've been sitting on saving, and now while I'm mad, it's time to use it, and I did. That was pretty crappy. So, yeah,
well, we know who Shane is, and we know, like I said, everybody makes mistakes,
yeah.
and I don't think anybody in here would ever think less of you for a mistake.
Well, even if they did, the biggest thing was I thought less of me. You
Right.
know, and I try to keep that in mind. Moving forward. I changed my name to Edgy American, guys. That doesn't mean I'm going to be any more edgy. Edgy as in knife edges is why I changed it. But I'm going to try to slack off the having to scream at from the rooftops about Chinese knives when people bring them up. I'm going to quit doing that. I've stated my case plenty of times. Everybody's heard it. I'm still going to promote what I have a passion for, but I want to try to not be as assholeish about it in the future. So
Well, I mean, hell, you carried a Chinese knife today, so what does that say?
exactly, exactly. And I've always admitted that I still own some. And my thing now, what I would really like to uh, to get across without being an asshole is the um, I guess it doesn't. It's not that it bothers me; it's that it confuses me about uh, why how they lured us in with a pretty good quality product at a low price, and then once they got us hooked, now they're steadily creeping up in price. People were highly upset about the $50 price hike uh, on a Chris Reeve knife, which is what sixth price raise. Yet Civivi's gone from $45 to 75, $80 on some brands. I guess what I'm getting at is I just want to um, um, I want to make sure people know that if you're going to buy a budget blade from China, there are some really good ones, and there's no reason to spend $80 or $100. In my opinion, if you're one of those guys that say, "Hey, I can't afford multiple knives. I can't afford a good American knife," then why wouldn't you just buy a CJRB feldspar for $38? There no there, in my opinion, there aren't any Civivis any better than that knife. So why pay more? Or if you're just anti-Chinese because you're anti-communism, the Rat One is still a very viable option. It's an excellent pocket knife. And it's 30 bucks. Hey, you want Walmart buy if you want to. You know, that's the thing I just don't get is what are we getting for our money? You know, um, is a Civivi worth 20, 30, $40 more than a CJRB or an entire Ontario Rat One? And I think guys in the comments complain about Allstate. I don't know what experience they had with Allstate, but um, if you go to Gerald's cut test, the Rat One and Allstate is right there with 154 CM. It actually outcut 154 CM. It outcut D2. It outcut a lot of students. Now, granted, that's one particular type of test. That's slicing through cardboard, you know. But you know, there's nothing wrong with the right one. If if you're on a budget, that's all you can afford. You need a knife to do work, man. That knife will do work.
Well, I'll tell you, one of my favorite knives, not even like favorite budget knife, just favorite knife period, is that petrified fish flavorist. And then that thing, dude, I took it apart. It's so well machined and well built. Like it's just mind blowing.
Oh, there's no arguing the quality, and you just can't.
Yeah,
You know,
and it
like I was saying, this Kaiser Roach. Um, I know some people don't like N690, but uh, I haven't had any issues with it. With a very low angle edge, and like I said, I mean, that where do you how much does that kind of action cost? You know, Now granted, was an $80 knife, but you know, you can't argue the quality anymore.
no.
You can argue the heat treat in some cases, but once again, how much does it actually matter to us, the average knife carrying knife user?
Are you really gonna notice it? I mean, yeah, that flavorist, I think I paid 38 shipped
Yeah.
from White Mountain Knives. So I mean, that's insane to get a knife of that quality and that good a fit and finish and that well built for 38 bucks is just insane to me because there's not like even back in the day when you to me the Ontario Rat's a great knife, but I mean the build quality is totally different on the that petrified fish. It's just
Oh
very
yeah,
very well machined.
it's more refined for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Kyle, what was that knife you just loaned me? You just sent me. It was like $50. Huge. The big one with the 4-inch blade. Um, God, I'm drawing a blank. Everybody knows it. It's the Valona. Can't remember the make. I think yeah, the Migueron Valona. That knife at $50, man, in K110 or D. No, I think his was in 14C. I mean, that's an incredible knife, incredibly well made for that kind of money. You know, and that's what I'm getting at. If you can buy, and I can constitute it being a little more money because it's more knife. But if you can buy a 4-inch bladed 14C Migueron Valona for less than $50, um, why are we still willing to let Civivi have those price hikes and pay their price for their knives? And Kaiser too. I mean, as well as I do, John, a Kaiser an N690 with my Carta a couple of years ago would have been 40 bucks.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, this
they've jacked
game,
their prices up.
yeah, they follow that hype train, and the faster that train goes, the higher those prices get. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh, brother Beefer Baron, what's up, man? Kyle actually lives pretty close to me and Shane. I haven't talked to him in a while though. I think he's kind of his interests are
who
more
does?
geared. Kyle DTOM.
Oh yeah,
Beefer Baron was asking about him. He's still around. He just I think focusing on family and stuff. He's got a daggone football team, so
that, and I think Kyle got pretty jaded about YouTube as well.
yeah,
I think he got sick of. I could be wrong, but I know I've heard him talk about it. I think he was having a hard time putting up content for a company to make money off of that was, what he felt infringing on his First Amendment rights. So
oh yeah,
yeah, I think he got tired of that. And,
and
and,
so
and that's an issue with me too. But I also remembered that, we all like to talk about that, guys. I'm all about any type of freedom. However, it's no different that you can say whatever you want. But if you come in my house and say it, you might get punched in the mouth.
right,
This is YouTube's house. You know, they technically can censor whatever they want. I wish they didn't. I don't think it's fair, but we need to remember that it is their platform. That they get to make the rules. It's great to see Beaver Baron though, man. I hadn't seen him around in a long time.
oh yeah, yeah. He's one of the OGs.
Yeah,
I think now that you mentioned that, I think the beginning of the end was kind of when MC got demonetized that one time.
yeah, he was highly upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, look, I got porn bots. I have
Yes.
made it to the big time, John.
Yes, you've made it when you get porn bots. Triple
Yeah,
X 18 online. Have a good time. Find your love. Don't mind if I do.
absolutely.
Lead the way there, sex bot.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Lavender Pants 86?
He was just in
He popped into
Jared. Yeah,
the
Jared's live stream the other night. Said he'd been busy with other stuff or had a lot going on or something like that, but he was going to try and be more active.
yeah, that guy's
So,
got a very impressive collection.
oh yeah,
He's got a lot of really high end stuff. Him and CPM could
I was
probably.
I was about to say him and CPM could probably go toe to toe with their collections.
I remember when NAF started buying all those expensive knives and people being upset about it. Like, how's a guy in the military afford that? Well, then they found out how he did it, and they were still mad. Like, the guy got a re-sign bonus because his job is very technical and it costs a lot of money to train somebody to replace him. So they gave him a re-sign bonus, and he spent it on this.
Yeah,
And he turns around and sells them, to be able to buy. Why would people be mad about that? I don't get it.
I don't know. And it's like, say, let's just give it an arbitrary number. I don't know how much, but say he took $5,000 and built up, that higher end collection. Well, he's not been, adding another $5,000 collection over and over to it. He's recycling in that
Right,
same $5,000 worth of knives into, knives that he likes or higher end knives that he wants to check out. So,
right. Because I was in with guys that got big, uh, they got big re-sign bonuses. Most of them spend them on cars. But what a lot of people don't realize is you hear that there's this $50,000 re-sign bonus, and well, there is, but they might give you 10,000 of it when you re-signed, and 10,000 of it a year
like
later. The
5 years
rest,
later, yeah,
the rest is broken up into your monthly paychecks. It's not like
yeah.
50 grand all at once. Yeah,
No, and well, and I think they'll give you like half up front, and then sometimes half at the end of your enlistment or whatever. Like you won't even get the rest of it until that actual enlistment's up. And
yeah,
I spent my sign-on bonus at the bar, so
yeah. Yeah, I know that feel. I actually qualified for the nuclear program, and believe it or not, I'm smarter than I look. But they were going to give. This was in 1989, so there was a $20,000 uh, enlistment bonus to go in the nuclear program. But to me, $20,000 wasn't enough money to to stuff my 6'3" ass into a submarine where the door openings are 5 foot tall, and being there for on the bottom of the ocean in the dark for 9 months out of the year. It wasn't worth the 20 grand to me.
well, in hindsight, again, it's 2020, but you know what a lot of those guys that went nuclear in the Navy ended up doing is working at nuclear plants as reactor operators,
Right.
starting out 250 grand a year.
Did
So
you read that? Read that shit.
20-year Marine with signing bonus is deaf divorce already with a Mustang, STD, and addiction to crack.
He forgot. Kyle, the only thing you forgot was tribal tattoos on both arms. and,
Well,
a,
think.
and a five-finger death punch collection.
Well, I can't stand five finger death punch, but I do have travel tattoos on both arms. So
Hey, I ain't gonna knock them because the only reason I don't have one is because I worked at a tattoo shop. I did tattoos for several years, and the owner there was like, "Dude, don't, do not get." He's like, "I promise you, it's about to go out of style. You're gonna regret it. Don't get a tribal armband." So I did. Yeah.
well, I got mine, dude. All right, so this one here, I got in California. The tattoo he did several of my tattoos. Dude, he literally drew it on with a pen. He didn't make a stencil, and he drew it on with a pen and then tattooed over it.
Yeah. Of course, I
And
mean, I
every
can't say anything. I've got the letters WCL tattooed on the back of my neck. So, you know, do you want to know what that stands for?
I'd love to because I'm trying to.
Everybody that worked at our tattoo shop had a WCL tattoo. There was this game. Once you earned it, you got the tattoo, and then it belonged to you. So nobody could tattoo that until you met somebody else that was deserving of it, and you had to tattoo it on them. And then that means it belonged to them. So if it moved on, that person had to tattoo it. But it stands for world class loser.
Oh shit!
Yeah, once you had hit rock bottom working at the tattoo shop and lost your wife and your home and everything you've ever worked for, you could get the WCL tattoo and then you got to pass it on. Well, one of the guys that worked there, because after I had passed it on, the guy I passed it on to actually passed it on to Yellow Wolf.
Oh
So
shit!
the rapper Yellow Wolf has a WCL tattoo and he passed it on to somebody else. He did the tattoo.
Oh
Yellow Wolf
shit!
probably could have been a tattoo artist if he wasn't making so much money doing music.
He's got some sick ink on him, man. He's got some.
All of that came out of the shop I worked in.
Damn.
You seen the '71 long wheelbase Chevy Danny's Rib
Yeah.
Cage? Yeah, I was there while my buddy Jeremy was doing that tattoo. I was making runs back and forth to the ABC store buying Jack Daniels for his entourage, and they filmed the. Not many people have seen it because when he was there that time, he was signed with Sony Aftermath, and he recorded a music video that has our tattoo shop in it. And right after that, Sony dropped him, and he signed with. I said Sony Aftermath. That's not true. Sony anyway. It wasn't. It was, it was Sony's urban label is what they called it. So it was their rap label. Um, and then right after that, he signed with Shady Aftermath. He actually went and met Eminem and stayed with him for like a week, and he signed with him. But if you want to see the tattoo shop I worked at, you can look up Yellow Wolf Kicking. The name of
Oh,
the video,
dude, I've seen that video.
dude. I'm telling you, there was probably 20 hours of footage of me in that video, and it all hit the edit floor.
And
It's
that's the one because it's got you can see, is it the movie theater that's
that's
in it?
that's the
Because
game.
it says Gadsden movie theater. You know.
Let me tell you something about that, John. It was the coolest thing happened when we were filming that. You remember when he's standing there dancing and the giant full lifted Dodge behind him?
Yeah.
That was Jeremy, the guy that apprenticed me to tattoo. That was his truck. While he was filming that, perfect weather, beautiful day, just right in the middle of filming that dance scene, the bottom just fell out and it started pouring rain. And the guy from Sony, uh, the Sony Music, we're talking about a multi-millionaire music producer, lost his mind. He said, dude, I would have paid $1 million for this to happen. He's like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Problem was, one of the raindrops hit the camera lens.
Oh,
All the footage was ruined. So
oh, dang.
if you notice in the cut that does make the music video, the ground's wet because it only rained for like 30 seconds, and it was so cool to be there and see it happen because Wayne did. I shouldn't say that. That's his real name. Yellow Wolf didn't. He didn't stop. He
Yeah.
just continued on like it was supposed to happen, and it was super cool. But nobody ever got to see it.
Dang, man.
But in that kicking video, you remember the scene where they're out in that field doing donuts in the mud,
Yeah.
and it shows that guy's face, the bald headed guy with a goatee, who looks like he's ate a whole handful of pills.
Uh
That's my buddy Meathead, and he had ate a whole handful of
huh.
pills.
That's why he looks that way.
Yeah, yeah. He talks about it all the time. He hates that footage is in there. He's like, I was all peeled up and shit.
Well, a lot of people don't know. Yellow Wolf's actually a pretty damn good skateboarder.
Oh yeah, yeah. He skateboards in the video at our
Yeah.
tattoo shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see him skateboard across that parking lot. You can see the building that says Old School Inc. Yeah,
Yeah.
I literally walked out that door when everybody comes walking out the door. I don't know how, dude. They cut me out of every scene.
This ugly mug, we got to get rid of him. Get rid
Oh,
of every scene in this video that's got him in it.
yeah, yeah. When it shows the footage of him doing the truck tattoo on his rib cage, I was literally 2 feet away. While all that was happening, and what's weird is Yellow Wolf came home and did a concert here at a place called Center Stages. It probably holds, I'm gonna guess, maybe 5,000 people.
Uh,
They built it as one of those passing through venues. Like if you were going from Birmingham to Chattanooga on a tour, you could stop by there on a weeknight and make a couple $1,000s. Well, so Yellow Wolf decided to come home and do a concert in Gadsden because that's where he's from, and didn't even sell it out. This guy
yeah.
at this point in time, dude, he was selling out stadiums in China and Korea, and couldn't sell out a 5,000 seat venue in his hometown.
They just don't listen to him, I guess, huh?
No, it's just jealousy.
Really?
They just don't like him because he was a street kid skateboarder that made it. Nobody wants to support him. Yeah.
Well, that's dumb because
Yeah.
he's badass.
Yeah. He's also not at all what you think he is. He's the yellow. It kills me when I listen to his music and I hear him talk about guns. I think in one of his songs you even hear him talk about doing the rat a tat tat.
Yeah.
Yellow Wolf literally will walk out of his way to avoid stepping on a bug. He's that anti-violence. That dude, he won't kill a bug. He just don't believe in killing any living creature. He's a really nice guy. He parties hard. I'll give him that. That dude does party. You remember the video that he did that was they played during the halftime of the Alabama game, the championship game a few years ago? The video was called "Rolling."
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that one.
I was there for that one too. Didn't make any of it. Yeah,
Shane, this I think this has become a habit.
yeah. Apparently the camera doesn't like me. Yeah, because at the end of it, he was driving uh, a family member's Toyota Tacoma,
Uh-huh.
and at the end he said, "Hey man, somebody go get us some beer for after the shoot." And he just hands us this roll of cash, just rolled up hundreds. And we come back with that Tacoma. We literally stacked we literally stacked beer in the bed until it was level with the top of the bed, and then covered it all in ice and brought back a whole Toyota Tacoma bed load of ice down beer for after the video shoot.
He probably was like, "Well, what you guys drinking?"
Yeah. Yeah, and at the end of that video, if you'll notice, he's on the water. He's on the Coosa River,
Uh-huh.
going underneath the Southside Bridge. He's on Meathead's boat. My buddy Meathead, he got a pontoon boat. He's on his boat. That's what they filmed it from. Somehow I didn't make any of it. I don't know.
I think it might have been by design. I
Hey, I
can.
think there's a plan there.
I mean, all the footage you were in and didn't make it, there had to have been somebody saying we cutting this guy out of every scene.
Yeah.
Shane's like
It
that
was
one
like,
scene where the hot chicks like dancing. He was like, that was me, and they damn photoshopped it.
well, no one don't have hot chicks in his video. Remember, he showed. Remember in the kicking video that couple that both had black eyes.
Yeah,
That was so good. But and that wasn't makeup. They had beat the shit out of each other before. But I mean, that was his thing. Was white trash.
yeah,
His whole brand is Slum American.
yeah.
But he right before he signed with Shady Aftermath, he called the tattoo shop. He had a gig in Birmingham at the Nick, which is typically a metal metal bar.
Uh-huh.
They have a lot of rock metal bands. Didn't even have a way to get there. Literally was downloading his music track on his phone on the way there. And yes, when he went on stage, he had to plug into his phone to play his music track.
Holy crap!
And played that show in front of 12 people. 4 of us rode with him. That's how. But the thing was, he didn't go on till like 3 o'clock in the morning. And literally a week later, he flew to Detroit, met Marshall Mathers, signed a multi-million-dollar deal with him. Marshall gave him $1 million Prevost tour bus, had it graffitied. Here in Gadsden, in the ghetto, I mean, nothing else to call it the ghetto, over where the projects are in downtown Gadsden. There was this huge, long concrete wall that people were constantly tagging. Not not quality tag work though. Not like the stuff like Jason Brown did or what he appreciated. Just crappy looking spray paint tags. And the city paid Yellow Wolf to paint that wall, and he hand painted that entire wall with Disney characters, and
Holy
it was
crap.
amazing. And the community had so much respect for him. This was before he went big, that they never tagged over it. I used to ride through there just to see if they were going to ruin it, and they never did. They left it because it looked so good that I guess they just couldn't bring themselves to destroy it. Kind of pretty cool stuff.
Is it still there today?
I I haven't had a need to go to that neighborhood in a long time, but I think somebody told me the city finally painted over it because it got real faded.
Oh damn.
Yeah, but they had like Snow White and all seven dwarfs. Just as you went down the wall, it changed from one Disney scene to another. It was really good work though. He's definitely an artist.
Damn.
Yeah.
Kyle said, Shane, you know who else never makes the video? The Fluffers.
Well, he used to run with this group called the Dobbin Block.
Uh,
They weren't rappers; they were all skateboarders from Brooklyn. I don't know how he met them, but when he'd be on tour, the Dobbin Block would just travel with him, and he'd get somewhere a day early, and they would just they would go to the hoods and skateboard together. They were just this traveling skateboard group, and I wasn't a fluffer, but that was my job when he came to town, was to kind of take care of those Dobbin Block boys.
take
Take
care of them how?
take them to get alcohol, food, whatever they needed. They'd rent a big 13 passenger van. Well, those guys all start drinking first thing in the morning, and you know, a DUI is a big deal because not just what how dangerous it is and money that it costs, but it could postpone them from being able to get to where they need to go. So everywhere they go, they would always find somebody to drive them. So I drove them everywhere they needed to go when they were here in town.
Well, I mean, I guess that's a type of fluffer, right?
I guess so. Yeah, kept them out of jail anyway.
Hey, they say all the real work happens behind the scenes. So,
Yeah, my wife has bragged to people a few times because that's back when we were dating, and I earned some pretty big points on that introducing her to Yellow Wolf. But we had to stop on the way to Birmingham at the Argo exit, and because everybody had to pee, and we pulled into a shell that was closed, so we all had to go around behind the convenience store to pee. So anytime somebody brings up Yellow Wolf, she's proud to let them know that she peed behind a convenience store with Yellow Wolf.
hell yeah.
Yeah,
How many people can say that though? Really,
yeah,
not very many.
yeah. Some people. It's funny how people around here like to question, you know, did he make it? Let me tell you something, dude. We had this concept of making it means being on MTV, 4 or 5 times a day. If you're doing something you love, and you're making more money than you could have ever made at a day job, you've made it.
Oh yeah.
When you start thinking about that you're getting $40,000 a show, you're doing 250 shows a year. Get your calculator out, figure that out. It don't matter how big you think somebody is. We've got a local country guy here that nobody knows who he is. None of you guys have ever heard his name, and he makes about $20,000 a show and does about 200 shows a year. Do that
Who is?
math. See what that guy's making. He's
Damn.
made it. He's made it. I promise
Who is this guy?
you. Albert Simpson.
You're right. I've never heard of his. Never heard that name.
He's very famous in the bar scene. So he plays a lot of bars, but he goes to music festivals, and he'll be the B stage at a music festival.
Right.
A while, he's got a picture of him and Usher together. And it's hilarious because Albert kind of looks like you,
Uh
but
huh.
with even longer hair. And just to see him and Usher together is crazy because Albert's music's completely different too. But so like while Usher's playing the main stage, Albert's over here playing this side stage. But he's making a shit ton of money doing it. So he's made it. He made it in the music industry, regardless of what anybody thinks.
$20,000 for what? Hour and a half, 2 hour max worth of work.
Yeah, and he doesn't incur any overhead, dude. He's got a Chevy van that's got a bed in the back of it. He won't even buy a hotel room. He sleeps
Damn.
in that van everywhere he goes. He's like, dude, it cost me like $5 a night to leave this thing running so the air conditioner's on. I'm like, man, I don't blame you. That's what I'd do too.
Damn right.
But
Here,
unlike a lot of music artists, when Albert decides he's done, Albert Albert's not going to be broke in a year.
right. He's been frugal with it, putting it back.
Yeah,
And so roughly estimate in the 2 hours we've been live, how much of that was spent talking about knives?
I think it was actually more than average tonight. I
It
will
kind of
say that,
was.
but I think maybe 20 minutes up to
Yeah,
2 hours.
probably. That's. I think that maybe a little generous, maybe I don't know, give or take, but
Yeah,
yeah, that this it just goes to show that this isn't just a knife community. It's a community.
yeah. But like
You
I
know,
said, nobody did it better than you did. As far as people can say what they want about knife content, I don't think anybody does knife content better than Bob DeMarco. But nobody created a community and a place for people to come together like you did. You know, uh, nobody. You know,
I can't take credit for that because I mean it's the people. The community's made up of so many awesome individuals. I mean, it just I think it was just it was meant to be, and you got a heap of people that take up the torch and they're really passionate about this community and their friends and family in it. So
I was meant to tell you earlier too, dude. You remember how Kyle and Lefty used to alternate weekends?
yeah,
They host the same show, but it would go from channel. If you're interested in doing that to kind of get your foot back in the door, I'd be more than willing to do that because
oh yeah,
um, I'd love to know that I had somebody on. And if we still want to add a guest, we can. But yeah, this has been a lot easier for me having you on here. Like I said, I've never gone 2 hours, but I am fixing to have to get off because I'm in a lot of pain
yeah.
taking my medicine. So, at this point, once I let it get this bad, I have to take the medicine and go get in a hot bath. So I have to go take care of that.
And
Next
then
time,
then send us pictures, of course.
yeah, next time I'll be more prepared. I just let it slip up. I forgot about it this time. So,
Yeah, I feel you, man. It's been a blast though, and yeah, we'll get together and we'll give me a call and we'll discuss it and figure out the details and we'll do it.
yeah. Yeah, and of course, if you still want to do your other night too, that's great, man. Because I know we'd all love to see you back. Everybody enjoys hanging out.
Yeah, I love it, man, and it's good to be back, and it's good to have things actually kind of working. I went through a spell there where just everything I tried really wasn't working technologically, um, but yeah, I feel a lot better about how things are going. I'm ready to get back rolling. I might even start making some actual knife content videos. Who knows?
All you gotta do is reach out, dude. People will provide you with the knives. You know that.
Oh, I know. Already been offered knives. I mean, just out of the blue, Matthew Sawinski offered up
You got a
his
guy.
sea otter.
You've got a guy right in there that's got a hell of a. You could run off that collection for a few months.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage of knife content around here. So, but yeah, it's
Well, all
kind
right,
of
guys. I've got to get, man. It's literally getting worse by the minute. But John, I really appreciate you coming on, man. All you guys know, I appreciate any amount of time you spend with me. John, you're more than welcome to keep this running if you want to. But I gotta get. So peace. Love you guys.
hey, love you, Shane. Shane, I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Yes, sir.
And guys, I'm